Hey, let's see. We are live, but unfortunately, Rumble could not start. Dang it. Well, I'm going to have to look into that. We were going to try to stream on Rumble. I got Twitter fixed, but unfortunately, the Rumble didn't work, so I'll have to deal with that. But anyway, hey, we're live on Twitter or X or whatever it is tonight anyway.
You know, I Twitter, X. I mean, I don't know. I'm indifferent. I call it Twitter all the time, but it's almost like it's a right left thing. The left calls it Twitter, the right calls it
So
X.
I'll have to deal with
But
that. But
I like Twitter.
I like
I
it
like
too.
that's how I.
Well, I never did dislike it. Honestly, when they started turning tightening the screws on everybody over there as far as content goes, and sometimes it wasn't even conservative, or quote unquote conservative content, I kind of got away from using Twitter as much. Because the fact of the matter is, Twitter has never been anywhere near as big as, of course, YouTube and, of course, Facebook and the other platforms. However, it's got a very dedicated following, and of course, the news likes to refer to Twitter all the time. So I don't know. We're streaming on Twitter. We have a small following on Twitter, but we'll see. But we
Okay,
do
well,
have a few people watching tonight, so let's see. Yeah, we got some people on YouTube and some people on Facebook. I didn't get the notification posted till like 3:30 today. So
I am apparently booted from Facebook. I don't know why I can't get on there, but anyway. So if you say people are on Facebook, then I have to take your word for it.
I'm going to double check to make sure. If y'all can hear us out there, if everything sounds good, make sure and sound off in the comments. I see Ann Bolton Denny's in there, Val Baker's there, Judy Stewart's there. So showing about 25 to 30 people watching. So those are all positive signs.
Good deal. So, what is on the agenda? What did you do while I was gone? Y'all all know what I was doing. I mean, what were y'all doing around here? I'm
Hey,
trying to catch up.
you were up there hobnobbing with the politicos and all that, and down here nothing much. Just there was a little bit of stuff that went on in the city, but not much. And I don't know if you saw last week's show. It was after you got off the show. If you watched it later, anyway, the Colonel and Wes and I, had a little dialogue going on, and honestly, there hadn't been too much this week, except for this odd charter commission meeting. Again, I guess it wasn't technically a meeting. I guess it was a workshop. I mean, false start, balk. I don't know what you call
Well, I mean, I did hear about that, and I watched it a little bit today, and I heard a little bit of dialogue about whether or not they had a quorum or whether they didn't have a quorum, and um, you know, I'm just wondering if by virtue of them not having a meeting, if they actually had a walking quorum.
it. Well, that would be interesting, except that did they actually? Now, I've not watched that whole meeting.
Sure they
Did they,
decided. They decided on when they're gonna have the next meeting.
oh,
They
so they did
conducted
take
business.
an official business, take some official action.
They did take some official action. All 4 of those ladies made the determination on when they were gonna have a meeting.
They have three lawyers in the room. Jacobs was in there. Of course, Richard Ray was, and the princess herself. Uh, I'll
Yeah,
say
but
I'll
look,
reserve my comments about that for now. But they got
look.
three lawyers in the room, and they're trying to figure out Robert's Rules of Order.
Well, I mean, look, the princess can conform any word to meet whatever need she has. I mean, God help us all if she becomes a judge. I mean, you
Look,
better be on her payroll. I mean, you better be aligned with her, or
I wouldn't.
else.
After listening to her today again, I wouldn't hire her to try to get me out of a speeding ticket.
Well, there will be no justice if she has her way. And that's just the way I'll just say it. I mean, I'll tell you, I have had an opinion for a while, and after watching this meeting, I am more convinced that she is unfit to serve. I mean,
Well,
just she is unfit.
so we're going to watch this here in a minute, but newsflash to everybody tuning in, because we're up to about 40-something people watching now. Newsflash to everybody. Remember when Richard Ray said he wasn't the legal counsel? Oddly enough, he was kind of being the legal counselor today with Charles Jacobs in the room. It's so confusing.
Yeah, I don't know which way it's coming or going. But anyway,
Yeah.
so we're going to talk about that, and I guess we're going to catch up a little bit. I'll do some closing stuff on the convention, because there's a lot of stuff that people, just even from what I shared as best I could.
Yeah.
And
You did a good job.
well, thank you. I mean, but a lot of people may not have picked up on it, and even right now, I'm still a little under the weather. And just we'll go into that a little deep. They have no idea about these conventions. Everybody thinks it's all glamorous. I'm telling you, it is not. It's not. But
Well, we've got some folks that are commenting that they want to hear more about the convention. I am interested to see your pin collection, so let's go ahead and go to the break, which I have not shortened down yet, but I am working on that. Let's go ahead and do the intro and countdown and all that sort of thing. That'll give us time to share it out. Give you all time to tag and share people. Again, the Charter Commission meeting is on tap. There were some shenanigans in that, and actually we'll talk more about it. Maybe planning a secret meeting. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to look at Duke's pins from Wisconsin when we come back. How about that?
Let's do it.
I'm hitting the button. Here we go. Countdown begins.
If folks knew a lot of the back office on the politicians that they think walk on water, they would be shocked.
You know, there's an old wound from a knife in my back that just is giving me heck lately, and it's just really irritating, so I have to kind of wiggle around a little bit.
Well, I've not heard my name in stable or Baton Rouge in stable in the same sentence in a long time.
I titled it A Shot Across the Bow of the Good Old Boys.
Just, they feel helpless, they don't feel heard, they have nowhere to turn.
Some Republicans as well believe that government has the answers. And let me tell y'all something. I don't know anything government does well. Nothing.
Aren't there laws that say that you have public meetings so that the public can have accountability of their elected officials?
They're making a little bit of progress, but I would definitely have to give the race to Caddo Parish right now. Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anybody from Plain Dealing watching, you think?
As a member of the media, I'm very concerned about what I've just heard.
Did you or did you not requisition some money to fight against this or for it?
We hired a lobbyist, and it cost us $15,000. We were opposed to HB 630.
So for this week, folks, the cockroach of the week, according to Bossier Watch and Duke Lowry and Rex Moncrief, is
Raymond Cruz legislative assistant, Allie Feaster Smith. Thank you, Allie. Well, I'm not thinking Star Wars at all. I'm thinking zombie apocalypse. No way, it was not David. You know it wasn't David Montgomery. David ain't gonna jump off in there with Chris. He ain't gonna do it. He'd soon spit on him as he would even look at him. Man, this is a Mickey D's Krispy Kreme wheat. Didn't you know? Who's paying y'all? And if you're driving on the roads, are you safe?
It's on the road, yeah.
Well, I know you're on the road, but I mean, is this all folks coming from the border down there?
Yeah, it's going to border. It's actually going to Mexico, the buses.
doesn't mean they interpret it the same way that I do. For instance, the Second Amendment. I take it very literally. That's been interpreted different ways in the court system all the way up to SCOTUS. Yeah, that's only going to cause more division that he claims he doesn't want to cause. And it's only going to cause more suspicion. We're still right now combined on both pages and YouTube at 264 people watching. That is amazing. Folks, Coleman Project, the Walker Place deal, through conscious, shocking actions. The purpose of their actions was to stop plaintiffs, being the Earl Coleman and associated groups not, from developing Walker Place. But here's the key thing, which in turn would enrich sitting city council members Scott Irwin and David Montgomery Jr.
hit the button, does that mean that people are like seeing us sitting here talking,
Well,
chatting?
in theory, it's an every week thing. We got to double check and make sure it's like a miracle any of this actually works. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Outdoor News, fishing and outdoors for our area. Acadiana Mortgage, over 25 years in the mortgage business. Pelican Training and Consulting. Reach out to Julie Ferris. Smarter Geek, making technology easier. And folks sharing information and watching out. Now, grab your popcorn and a drink. Here we go. We made it back.
So did you know that we were talking about Twitter and X? Did you know that today was the 1-year anniversary since Elon Musk bought Twitter?
Why, no, I had no idea. Is this like the day that the money actually got transferred and hit the account, or when he announced he was going to buy it?
Well, I don't know that. I just know that, everybody's saying that today was the 1-year anniversary. And I will tell you, a lot of the things that we know, had he not taken that action, I don't think we would know. I don't think we would be where we are today in this country. I mean,
Well, I got to be honest, we wouldn't be interested in streaming to the platform. And again, we just have a handful of viewers over there on Twitter or on X, but we certainly wouldn't be worried about streaming over there.
no. But Barry Butler, listening from Colorado, man, that dude travels some.
He must have some frequent flyer miles or something.
Yeah, he does. Well, hey, the national convention, people, I've gotten quite a few messages and people wanting to know some detail about some things. They ask questions, you posted this, you posted that, or what have you. And anyway, if anybody watching, if you got a specific question that you want me to answer about it, I mean, look, I'm in for it. But one of the things I'll tell you is, Rex, and people watching, you may know, I mean, I am struggling through this right now a little bit because my throat is raw. It's like somebody took a chainsaw to the back of my throat and just went to town on it. And I'm on the back side of this thing. I'm getting it behind me, but as soon the last day we were there, I got sick, and I've literally been laid up in the bed with 100 and something degree fever, and just anyway, about trying to blow my brains out. But I'm on the backside of it, and
Well, that's a good thing. I mean, I'm sure as much talking as you do, and as many people are there, and you're having to talk loud and really use your voice, that puts a strain on your throat, and then that probably makes you more susceptible to, I don't know, whatever virus or bacteria and blah blah blah.
Well, and it's the long days. Just people
Right.
have no idea. And in fact, just so folks know, just in the Louisiana delegation alone, and I shared this with you, but we had 3 people that were in the Louisiana delegation alone that had to go to the hospital. One is still in the hospital right now up there, and everybody say a prayer for him. He had a heart attack while we were down there at the convention on the floor, and he had to have a, a surgery the very next morning. They got him stabilized, and they were able to put it off till the next morning. But the thing is, man, these conventions are hard on you. They're hard on your body, and it's a ton of walking. It's long days, and I posted. I don't remember. Maybe it was Bossier watching. It was my personal page, but I posted. We get up at like 7 in the morning. We eat breakfast. We have a delegation meeting. We talk about what's going to transpire during the day and what votes, if any, or action, or what you're going to do is going to take place, and then how the remainder of the day will be. And you then depart and you go to the convention hall or to that area. I mean, you're talking about a secured area that, I mean, I don't know how big the secured area is. I can't help but think, but it's 10 or 20 blocks all the way around. I don't know, it's a ton. And once you go in the convention hall, you can leave to go outside to go get food. But like the first 2 days, they ran out of food inside. And if you're not one of the first people in there to get food, you were screwed. So most days, and especially if you're on the floor, you can't take food on the floor. And if you didn't bring food, if you could get it in and you weren't able to get food up there, you didn't eat until after the convention was over that night. So they finished 10 to 11 o'clock, and you then, if you try to go outside of there after it's over to get food, you stand in line for an hour to get food, and or you get on the bus ride back, which is an hour drive. So every single night, there was not one night we didn't get back to the hotel until after 1 a.m.
Well, you know, talking about that, and let's just talk about the proverbial elephant in the room. Trump's speech. Let's see, what was it, Thursday night? I mean, he went on for, what was it, 90 minutes or something? To be honest, I didn't watch the whole speech because it got a little ad nauseum. But I will say this, to watch him be able to get up there and give that speech for that long and just keep right on going like it was no big deal. I mean, to me, that says something about his stamina for a 70-plus-year-old man. You know, and of course, we won't get too far off into that, but to contrast that against Joe Biden, who could barely make it through a 15-minute interview.
Yeah, well, he was enjoying the moment, and what I would tell you is that he has a prepared speech, and you probably, if you went back and watched it, you could pick out the moments. I could see his speech on the teleprompter. I could see what was coming across, and I could tell when he was getting off speech. And he is a lot better than what he was before in that his speech, when he's going slow and methodical in his speaking, he's on point. But when he gets to where he's talking like 100 miles an hour, I mean, he's off he's off script and he's just
Right.
running.
That's about when I tuned it out listening to it. I mean, I thought the first part of it, and I hate to say it, but the scripted part, you know, and his message was really good. But yeah, when he got back to the major talking points and rhetoric, I'm going to vote for Trump, but I tuned it out. I have to be honest.
But at the convention, there's so many things that people don't see, and like I did that radio interview with Robert and Aaron one morning, and
Right.
I was telling them about the symbolism, and there was a couple of things that I shared one of them with them, but I didn't share. There's another one I want to share. Actually, two of them that are amazing stories. So one, if you watch the convention in whole, and then in the end, this is what I shared with Robert and Aaron, the opera song. I can't even pronounce it. That Italian word or whatever. But the significance of that is if you ever saw the movie The Sum of All Fears, in the end, what it ended up being a plot amongst people to assassinate the president, and it was basically the deep state, kind of the way it is now. And in the end of the movie, when all of the bad actors, were known who they were, and they were rounding them all up, and they were all being taken out. And when they were all being taken out in the movie, that opera song was the one playing. So a lot of people are making the connection and saying that the reason that Trump played that at the end of the convention was he was suggesting the same, because it supposedly says we will win, we will win, we will win, but other people are saying that there's another message there because he's a big music and a big movie buff. That's known about Trump, and that was some symbolism. There's another thing.
Could be.
So there's another thing. So I went to there was this premiere, this movie premiere, and I didn't know this while we were there. And I knew that we were going to be in close proximity to Trump. And I knew that it was invitation kind of only. There was a limited amount of people could even go to this thing. And yeah, the Sum of All Fears. And I knew there wasn't a whole lot of people could go to this thing. And so I go to this thing, and of course, Trump does show up. And when I tell you, I had Marjorie Taylor Greene was sitting right behind me, Representative Luna from Florida sitting right behind. I mean, there's all around me are all these famous people, ton. I mean, it was crazy. And Trump comes in, and he spoke a little bit. We watched the little movie thing, and then everybody went on about their way. And I was kind of like, well, okay, that, yeah, got to see a bunch of these famous people, but what was the big deal about it? Symbolism. Again, Theodore Roosevelt, when he was shot, the first place he went to give his speech was in that theater on that stage where we watched that movie. Trump came and was following in the footsteps of Theodore Roosevelt. He was just shot and spoke. It was almost identical. Okay. So here's another story. First day of the convention, I didn't get to make this. Kara made this event. And I don't know if I shared this whenever we did the live interview, but you may not have heard it. But I want to share this story again. And I had to go to the convention hall for votes. There was already some prearranged events that we were supposed to attend. And one of them was the Hunter Nation deal and Brock Borderline. That's a big effort here. We might ought to try to get Brock on the Outdoor News and or even Bossier Watch to talk about what they're doing. They're doing some amazing things, but they were having an event, Hunter Nation deal up there, and I was supposed to go, but we couldn't. We were directed. We had to go to the convention hall because we had to take votes on some specific issues. But Kara did go. So when Kara gets there and they have different speakers, Ted Nugent was there. They gave Ted Nugent an award. He actually played a song for them. And Don Jr. was there. And Don Jr. gets up and Don Jr. speaks to the audience and he starts kind of makes me this is kind of anyway. Don Jr. gets up there and says, he starts talking about reliving the day when his dad was shot. And he said, I was off fishing or something to that effect. And he said, I wasn't able to get my dad on the phone for over an hour or so, hour and a half. And so upon getting my dad on the phone, he said, the phone picks up and he says, the first thing I hear is my dad says, well, I guess you're pissed off at me. And Don Jr. says, well, Dad, why would I be pissed off at you? And Trump says to Don Jr., he says, because I let them shoot me first. Think about the power of him saying, I let them shoot me first. I mean, what's he freaking packing? A 40 cal or something? I mean, that's the
Well, yeah, we won't belabor the whole Secret Service ordeal. I mean, that's a whole bunch of turmoil now, and most of us, of course, have seen it, and are seeing what's going on in the news. But I just got to say, when Trump was or they were, they dogpiled him to cover him up, and then he was getting up and he was talking about, hey, let me get my shoes and all that. I was looking at some of those, whether they were Secret Service or DHS investigators, whatever they were. That would be about like me and you having to cover the president. I mean, we'd have to get, stools and try to jump up on top of him to cover him up. And he towered over them and has the presence of mind to put his fist up in the air and do the whole fight. We've all seen it. To me, that was just an unbelievable moment. And then to turn around and come to the convention and do all that stuff that he was doing and make those appearances. Anyway, I'm going on like a fan. It was pretty cool.
No doubt. I mean, we are, regardless of whether you like Trump, you don't like Trump, the one thing we can all agree on is we are living in a historic moment, and that we won't see it again in our lifetimes at all.
Yeah, the race. I think, and then we'll get off of here and go to the Charter Commission and local stuff. I'll just say this: with Biden's abrupt departure from the campaign, and now I have to remember to say her name correctly because I want to use another euphemism. But anyway, with the interjection of Kamala Harris as the candidate, it just got 1,000 times more interesting. If it was good and just be Biden, well, pretty much steamroller time. But with Kamala in there and that whole machine geared up now on the Democratic side, it's going to be a very interesting race.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And the other thing I want to share real quick is that at these conventions and there's going to be some stuff that is going to be put together here that if you felt motivated by this convention and you felt moved, I mean, the time to not be on the sideline is now, and to be involved. And if you're looking for a way to get involved, because some people say, I saw some people saying, oh, you know what, you're so lucky, dude, you're so lucky. I got to tell you, I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm not saying this to be arrogant, but it's not about luck. It's about getting in the game and working to make something happen. I mean, nothing's given for free. You got to give something, and I'll tell you, there's a lot of sacrifice to be given, but there's there's a ton of stuff that people can do and get involved in. And if you want to be where I was and you want to be able to go and enjoy that and do that or what have you, get in the game.
Yeah.
Create your own opportunity. You've got to do it. It's by your action is how you'll get there. And one other, before we move on,
Oh
one
yeah,
other
the
thing I want to,
pins. I want to see the pins.
yeah. So a lot of people, like, I don't know, you probably didn't see this on the thing, but you see this little button. I mean, somebody's going to say, and then they're going to accuse me of being a racist or whatever. So, they're going to say, oh, he's got all them, he's trying to dress like a Mexican general or something. No, that's not it. Okay, here we go. So if you look real close and you look,
That's
I guess
perfect.
it was to your left or to your right, you see that first emblem up there is the California emblem. And then you
Right.
see Wyoming, and then you see that American flag with the single star. I think that was North
Oh yeah.
Carolina. Then the white one underneath that is like Montana. But
Right.
right there under California, this is what I wanted to point out. Can you
Hmm.
tell that little emblem there?
Is that the Bossier City deal?
That's Bossier City.
Oh yeah.
So there's that one. And then underneath that one, you see GOP. And then
Right.
it's got the little feet. That's
Yeah.
the pro life emblem. And then you see the old B-52.
Right. Yeah. Perfect.
So
Good
some
patriotic
people,
stuff.
well, invariably, why I would wear those is because when you would go around trading pins with all of these multiple states, you deal with different people from all across the states, and
Mhm.
and they like, what do you have to trade? That's the deal. It's a trading
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
And invariably, people would ask about those pins, and I would say, look, I'm from Bossier City, Louisiana, finest city
Hmm.
in the state of Louisiana, home of Barksdale Air Force Base and the Buff. And,
Yeah.
we proudly support our military. It spurs that conversation. And anyway, one more, and I'll show this one and then we'll get off of it. But can you see that red emblem right there?
Oh yeah. Kind of. That looks like what, the state of Nevada.
That would be the state of Nevada. And
Hmm.
can you tell what's on Nevada's pin?
Well, well, I'm not going to say, but let's let the audience guess what's on Nevada's pin. I'll give you a hint. It has to do with maybe Las Vegas.
You just never know what you're going to get out of people's pins. But anyway, I thought that one was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right. So, refocus your camera and then let's dive into this deal. So, folks, there hasn't been too much that's going on in Bossier since the show last week. It still didn't catch focus. Try that again.
Okay.
Go very slowly. Think it followed you out. Yes, got it. Perfect. All right. So, there hasn't been that much that's gone on in Bossier since our last show and since the last show that you and I were together. However, apparently, there was a charter commission meeting. And I guess we want to go ahead and dive off into that. We'll mention the other deal that I've got the other screenshots and cuts for maybe towards the end of the show.
Let's do it. Dun, 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 dun,
All right.
dun.
Dum, dum, dum. Okay. So, how many of you folks knew that there was going to be a charter commission meeting yesterday? Yesterday
Oh,
afternoon.
wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. They're properly notifying all the public about having meetings. They only have to give you 24 hours notice.
Well, what they do, just follow the minimum and post it on the door of the city council chambers in like 8-point font?
Well, I mean, Chairman Morehart, if she calls a meeting, by gosh, they're gonna have a meeting.
Oh,
Oh,
Chairman.
wait a minute. They haven't had a meeting to make her chairman, but okay, that's right. She's running the show.
Yeah, well, okay. So, just in case you good folks didn't know, let me put this out there. Hold on, I got to get this off the screen. I got to hit this button and that button. Okay. So, here is the notice for the meeting of the Charter Commission yesterday. So, they were going to meet at 4 o'clock. They're meeting at the city council chambers, not apparently at the civic center or whatever, and I guess not at the racetrack, but we'll talk about that. So it looks like they were doing an invocation, pledge of allegiance, approval of the agenda, approval of minutes, new business. They were going to accept the resignations of Preston Friedley and Pandarina Sumas. And I've got some thoughts about those resignations that we're going to discuss as we get into this. You remember? Go ahead.
Well, that's interesting right there. They're going to accept the resignations of
Well, how
Preston
are they?
Freeland. Have they
Yeah.
not accepted them already? I mean,
Well,
that's
what?
not. I heard something different.
Well,
On
hold
the
on. If somebody, Duke, if somebody, this is what they failed to mention in this whole meeting, or I don't think they did. Granted, I didn't watch all of it. But if somebody appoints you, Preston could resign, for example, as being chairman or president of the commission, but his actual resignation from the commission itself is going to go to those who appointed him, which in his case would be Chris Smith and the city council. I don't know what they're talking about accepting the resignations. Think about that for a minute.
Well, I don't know where you're going there, but I mean, I don't think he resigned just as being the chairman. I think he resigned completely off the commission because
He did, and that resignation goes to the appointing authority.
I'm not so sure about that, but I'm not going to argue with you either. I mean, either Richard Ray's correct or Richard Ray's not, but I think that they were reading. I think they were reading in Robert's rules, maybe where it said, I don't know. What is that? We have to check.
All right, just a minor point there. Anyway, so then they were going to go on to new chairman election, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute because I don't think Shane Cheatham has resigned yet, if I remember correctly.
How are they going to have a new chairman election? Has Shane Cheatham done anything to warrant being replaced? Why would they need to replace him?
Yeah, why? I wonder if Robert's rule says something about that the three lawyers in the room couldn't point out. Anyway.
Oh, new member nominations and approvals. I mean,
I wonder who those new members were going to be.
Wow. Did everybody in the public, did they get consideration of being nominated, and were who knew?
Yeah, who knew? All right. Anyway, so then they were going to go over some charter changes, the consensus items, blah blah blah. Discussion of edits reviewed and or action taken in previous charter commission meetings. Oh, imagine that.
So now they're going to go back and they're going to revise previous charter commission meeting things that had taken place.
Yeah, I wonder why Shane, as the chairman, would approve an agenda such as this. Shane, if you're listening out there, or if you're watching the show right now, or listening later, did you actually approve this agenda?
What did Shane call the meeting? Because he is the chairman, and last I checked, it was the chairman was who called the meetings. I mean, but apparently Sandra Morehart is the chairman. I must have missed a meeting, or we didn't get invited to a meeting.
I guess I'm asleep at the wheel while you were gone and hadn't been keeping up close enough with this. Anyway, so of course you see here they're going to go over the term limits for mayor and council. All right. The vacancy of the mayor edit, blah, blah, blah. But the main thing, as far as we're concerned, is the term limits for mayor and council. So, yeah, they had full plans, and I guess Shane Cheatham, as the current chairman, must have approved this. What say you, Mr. Shane Cheatham? And, this was going to be their agenda. All right. So the question is, for all you folks watching, we're up to about 70 plus people watching total. Did y'all know about this meeting? I mean, I'm assuming, that's a dangerous word, that they did actually post it on the council chambers. I don't know if they put it in the publication, official publication, and I guess they put it on the website. Although there is a kind of an out in the revised statutes about having to get it on the website. I guess they did all that legally. I really don't know.
Well, I see also in their petitions edits, number 59,
Yes.
60, and 61. Not sure what those are, but I'm guessing now that they've been able to run off Preston, that they've got control, maybe they're going to try to end the citizens' right to be able to petition. Boy, I wonder what the public would think about that. Why would they
Yeah.
suddenly want to maybe seek to do that?
Very, very interesting. Okay, so there's the agenda. And this is the one that was sent out. And then, of course, they were going to adjourn, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, step number 5, outline the next steps, review of the Bossier City Charter final document, and submit it to the council. So, looks like they've still got quite a bit to do. And I think their backs are kind of against the wall on the clock.
Well, I'd say we get to the video and let's show everybody just how this meeting that the the secretary called. She calls all the meetings. I think that's what happened the last time was she tried to call a meeting that the chairman didn't call. And boy, here she is again calling more meetings. And the chairman's not, didn't call them or approve them.
This is going to sound chauvinistic, but she's kind of a bossy woman.
She's the boss. She's in charge. Is she the queen? Is she the true queen? It sure seems that way.
I guess so. Oh, wait. There is Shane. He says, I didn't call the meeting or approve the agenda. Wasn't even asked to. Oh, I'm so glad you cleared that up, Shane, because I was so worried that, somehow you had jumped to the other side of the ship. So thank you for clearing that up, Shane. All right. Barry Butler says, was Shane the vice chairman? Well, that is a good point. Shane, if you would, clarify in the comments. I believe I remember you being elected or selected as the vice chairman. Is that pretty much correct?
Yeah, and last I checked, in Robert's rules, if you're the vice chairman, you automatically ascend to become the chairman. That's the way that it goes.
I'm glad you said that because I just happen to have a screenshot of that. So hold on, before we go to the video, let me just see. It looks like the princess, being the attorney that she is, nor Richard Ray, nor Jacobs, could look through Robert's rules and know this, or they just at least didn't point it out. So this is out of Robert's rules, 5632. If the bylaws are silent as to the method of filling a vacancy, and as far as I know, there were no bylaws set up for the Charter Commission. If they're silent as to the method of filling a vacancy in the specific case of the presidency, the vice president or first vice president automatically becomes president for the remainder of the term, and the vacancy to be filled arises in the vice presidency or lowest ranking vice presidency. If another method of filling a vacancy in the presidency is desired, it must be prescribed and specified as applying to the office of the president in particular. But the important point is what I have highlighted in yellow. If there are no bylaws or the bylaws don't specify, the vice president or vice chairman becomes president or chairman.
And that's Robert's rules, right? You took that out of
rules, 12th edition.
So, how did Sandra Morhart, it's the chairman's responsibilities to call meetings. How did Sandra Morhart become the chairman is what I want to know. If there hasn't been a meeting, how does she become the chairman to call the meetings?
Exactly. I'm interested to know, did everybody involved with the Charter Commission get notice of the meeting?
And if they are correct that last week with their 4 people that if Juliana is correct with having their 4 people, if that in fact is a majority, I just want to know about their walking quorum and conducting business, arranging a meeting.
With no quorum.
Well, no, they said they had a quorum. She said it.
Wait
a minute.
Just because the little
seen,
princess says it so doesn't necessarily make it so, except in her world.
Well, we've seen the video, and everybody else hadn't seen the video, so we need to play it for everybody. They need to be able to see it. We're jumping the gun on everybody.
We're jumping the gun, but that's okay. So now that we have that out of the way for everybody, there's the official, which, as is pointed out in this meeting, they decided and accepted Robert's Rules of Order as their guidelines for this Charter Commission. So here we go. All right. So this is yesterday's meeting, and I just want to point out here that for, I don't know how long it was, 20-something minutes, I mean, they waited. Through the thunderstorm, you can hear the thunderstorm in the background. They waited. So I'm going to skip through most of those moments of silence. I say we go ahead and let's discuss the quorum and all those issues, and then we will come back to the audio part.
Okay.
The hot mic part.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so I'm going to show that, let's see, at the about the 12:25 mark of the YouTube video, and that's not exact because I trimmed just a second or two off the top of that video, but at about the 12:25 mark, I'm just going to kind of point a few things out. So Vicky asks what time it is, and Amanda responds. So here we go.
What time is it?
I got 4:03.
And I did get an email from Miss Wilhite saying she may be a couple minutes late.
So, just so y'all know, yeah, let me get my little hand pointer going. You've got Vicky Whitman, Sandra Morehart, Richard Ray's over here in the sometimes assistant city attorney, sometimes not. He can't ever decide. And then, of course, over here on this side is Amanda, and that's who you hear talking over there, just for full context. And then out here in the audience, we'll get to see here in a minute who all is out there. Okay. So, at about the 18-minute mark of the video, the princess arrives.
How long, Sandra? She said she would be 5 minutes.
Lots of awkward silence. I mean, there's a lot of awkward silence in this meeting. They're literally that's Julianne arrived at the 18-minute mark of the video. That's when she sat down. And they had been there for I don't know how many minutes before it actually started streaming. Just an odd meeting. Now, I'm going to jump to this part because I want you to see something, and then we're going to come back to this later. Notice that Vicky Whitman gets up from her chair and heads over there to Sandra and Juliana. This is going to become important later on, folks. All right. So the meeting's not been called to order or anything like that yet, if it was an actual meeting or workshop or whatever. But I want you to notice how Vicky Whitman gets up and walks over to Sandra and then eventually to Juliana. Okay. So jumping ahead to the 24-minute mark, finally.
Emailed and said they were late.
We get the meeting called to order.
So Richard, I think we'll call it to order. Should I do that?
Wait a minute. Why is she asking him if she should do that?
Well, number one, is he legal counsel? Is he acting president or chairman of the meeting? I mean, what the hell is going on here?
Should she do? She called the damn meeting. She's not the chairman, and she's calling meetings. I mean, and she's asking, should she call it to order? I mean,
it's like the Keystone Cops, and I want you to note who did show up is Wilhite. So she is there as well now. So that's four of them. Keeping track of the math. But you're right, Duke. Number one, she's calling the meeting, and then she's asking Richard Ray what she should do. Well, if you're calling the meeting, run the sucker.
Yeah, well, obviously she has some reservations about whether or not she has the authority to run the meeting, but she's obviously not hesitated about having the authority to call meetings and set meetings when clearly in Robert's rules it delineates that's the chairman. It clearly delineates it. But
yeah,
again, I go back to my question. Who the hell anointed her the chairman to call meetings?
The inmates are literally running the asylum. So we've already shown you, and I'm glad you brought that up first, dude, how the hierarchy happens in a resignation situation. Robert's rules very clear about it. That's what they all agreed, and we're going to hear them reiterate that fact again. Here we go.
Well, I was just looking at the question that you had asked me. I mean, I got my Robert's Rule book here. I mean, I think a quorum under,
What page?
I'm on page 328 of this one. Yeah.
And I want to remind everybody, on Bossier Watch's Facebook page, we've got a link posted, if it's still valid, to Robert's Rules of Order, the 12th edition, the ebook edition. You need to make sure and go download that. It's like 1,000 pages in the ebook edition because they use bigger font. And you can search through it. It's a full-fledged PDF. You can search through it and find out anything you want in there. So those page numbers won't necessarily correspond to the printed version that Richard Ray is referring to here.
Under section 40:2, I think what is applicable to this group is subparagraph 4. I'll let y'all catch up and take a look at that. And I thought this quorum issue had come up before.
What is the meeting of that, since we have had to resign?
Ryan Haygood citing Nancy Mace.
And then I think the other pertinent part was what Mr. Jacobs had sent.
So
was in
what's
chapter, was it 21?
What's happening here, guys, is they're trying to decide whether they have a quorum or whether they don't have a quorum. And so you've had 2 resignations, and so if there's a total people of this commission of 9 people, and you have 2 resign, obviously you've got 7. So if the number to base whether you have a quorum is based off of 7, then obviously 4 would be a simple majority. But if the number is required to be off of the total number of the body of 9, then you've got to have 5, to which they don't have 5. And Richard is reading, and both him and Jacobs end up asserting that it's their opinion that you need to have 5 people,
right?
To call this meeting to have a quorum.
And technically, they're correct.
Well, I don't. Well, yeah. I think so, but I think a case could be made. And of course, Juliana makes the best case that she can, and I didn't think it was a good one. Her rationale, she ends up, y'all are not going to believe how she ends up trying to justify it by saying she ends up trying to justify that they've got a quorum by counting the ex-officio members that don't even have voting rights, is how she tries to get around the legal hurdles.
Well, and we're going to show you in Robert's Rules what it says about those ex-officio members and where the little princess is wrong simply because, well, she ain't read Robert's Rules. All right, here we go. So just stop me at whatever point, Duke. And folks, we're going to play through most of this and do the play-by-play because it's just complete shenanigans. All right, here we go.
About the 9.
Yes. The charter.
Yes, ma'am.
If only they had a searchable PDF where they could search through that very quickly.
Yes, it's stormy.
Yeah, under section 21.02 of the charter, it says the commission shall consist of 9 appointed persons.
All right, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to switch screens for a second. Let me get rid of that because I think I have a cut for that. Let's see. Charter Commission, Robert's Rules, City Charter, non-voting. Yeah, and which he's fixing to mention here in a second. So here is Chapter 21 of the Bossier City Charter. And this is showing the appointment and how that works, Section 21.02. And you can see right here, this commission shall consist of 9 appointed persons who must be registered voters and residents of the city of Bossier. Members of the commission shall be selected for appointment as prescribed below. The chief administrative officer, in this case Amanda Nottingham, and city attorney, in this case Charles Jacobs with Richard Ray taking his place, shall be ex officio and, more importantly, according to the charter, non-voting members of the commission. So there's 2 important terms, ex officio, and the charter specifies non-voting members. So that's very important to keep track of right there. All right. Here we go.
Must be registered voters of the city of Bossier City. And I think there was someplace else that referenced 9. And that's what Mr. Jacobs had sent us in an email, that in order to conduct business, you got to have 9 members. The quorum has been 5 all along because it's a majority of the membership, or at least the voting membership. The ex officio members are non-voting. But I think you have a quorum to start the meeting and then to take the resignations and then to appoint new people. So I think any business you conduct without a quorum is subject to challenge.
So currently the member number is 7 with those 2 resignations, right?
Well, it's 9 because the resignations haven't been accepted.
They've been distributed and read by all members.
Okay, wait a minute.
That's where I want to stop for a second. Go ahead.
Yep. So now Chairman Morehart is saying that, well, they've been distributed to everybody, but yet, some reason or another, in the agenda, she puts under new business, accept the resignations. But right here, she's saying, but they've all been distributed to everybody. We already have done that.
Yeah,
it's already essentially the deed's already done.
Yeah, let me go back to that and see if I can find it in the agenda right quick. Not that one. I think it was actually this one. Oh, there it is. Number 1. It's the first on the list. Accept resignations of Preston Friedley and Pandorina Sumas.
So here again, she's wanting to have her cake and eat it too. I mean, they just want what's best for the citizens of Bossier City. But, in the agenda that she put out in the meeting that she called, she acknowledges that they have to have a meeting and accept the resignations, but yet right now she's inferring that, well, the resignations have already been sent to everybody, so therefore it's done, and the quorum number should be reduced to 7.
Yeah, and this is the point, and again, I'm splitting hairs here, but this is the point I was trying to make earlier. This isn't like Preston was stepping down as just the chairman. He actually resigned from the commission. It's not like he was stepping down from a committee that the commission had set up. He is literally, and Pandorina apparently, are resigning from the commission themselves. The people who accept those resignations are the appointing authorities, and then they turn around and appoint replacements to them. So whether the commission accepts their resignation or not, honestly, it doesn't matter. That's just going through the motions.
We'll go through the video here in a minute, but I think Richard Ray reads a part that pertains to who appoints to fill the vacancies. And I'm pretty confident that it's the remainder of the Charter Commission is who appoints to fill the vacancies.
That's what he said?
That's what he said. Yeah, it's in the video. Let's keep going.
Here we go.
Right, but this says 9 members. The whole point of what the email was, if you don't have 9 members and you do you conduct any business without 9 members, it would make it subject to challenge, even if you.
Then how do you
new people.
accept the resignation, sir?
You gotta have a quorum. You gotta have a meeting with a quorum.
But you can't have 9.
You gotta have 5 people here, or you gotta have a quorum of 5. There's 3 other members.
Now, she does.
I'm just waiting for one of them to say,
In other words, we
"Oh,
can't
you
do
mean we
any-
have to invite them?" Oh,
Well, but I got to give it to the princess. She does make an interesting point here. Of course, she's doing it for the wrong reason, but she does have a point right here. Listen to this.
anything without.
It's just like the last time.
Just like
On
the-
June 18th, you can't do anything without a quorum.
And so we're one short from a quorum.
now wait a minute. It's
That's my
you
position.
catch that? It's just like the last meeting.
Oh, yeah.
We couldn't do it because we didn't have a quorum. Well, why was there not a quorum at the previous meeting, Princess, Miss Moorhart? And
Yeah.
all
Gee, I wonder why a bunch of y'all didn't show up then.
Oh, I know. Because if y'all couldn't have your way, y'all weren't coming to another meeting. In fact, you somewhat delineated it, is what sources tell us, that y'all weren't coming back to another meeting so long as Preston Friedley was on the commission. Just love to hear y'all's take on the accuracy of that. Can y'all confirm or deny that you refused to come to the meeting?
All right, here
But-
we go.
Is that what Richard Ray, the meeting, which is that's what I think the meeting Richard Ray was talking about.
I mean, why can't? Anyway, we'll belabor that.
But you know, they can do it. They can do it, but nobody else can do it. It's either
what's good for the ganders is not good for the geese.
Yeah, this thing only goes one way. It either goes the way they all want it to go, or it doesn't go any way. There is only one set of rules here, and it's their
Yeah.
rules.
This was like the episode of The Highlander. Have you ever seen the movie The Highlander?
Oh yeah, I have.
Sean Connery. There can be only one. All right, here we go.
Okay.
That's your one short.
She's thinking.
I've said all along, I've said it a bunch of times. I got a smart lawyer sitting here right beside me. I got another smart one right here. I'm flanked by him.
All right, I want to jump back though. Hold on just a second. And listen to Juliana's point.
You conduct any business without 9 members, it would make it subject to challenge, even if you.
Then how do
appointed
you
new
accept
people.
the resignation, sir?
You gotta have a quorum. You gotta have a meeting with a quorum.
But you can't have 9.
You gotta have 5 people here, or you gotta have a quorum of 5.
Now, did y'all catch that? She wasn't even sure what a damn quorum was.
Either that, or she was trying to, just cloudy or muddy up the water on the issue of what Richard Ray was trying to say, is what I think she was trying to do. She knows damn good and well that you don't have to have a full majority or 9. She knows that. She was just trying to cloudy and muddy up the water is what she was trying to do.
Play stupid. So Ryan Haygood says, who is missing besides Shane and David? Well, of course Preston's missing because he resigned, but Lee Jeter is the missing guy. Okay, here we go.
There's 3 other members.
I'm going to jump back up to Jacobs because that's where we had left off, and I'll jump back. Here we go.
I do think that we're in a quandary. the charter is unequivocal.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I recognize a couple of faces out there in the audience. Sorry, Jacobs, you'll have to wait a minute.
Oh, yeah. There are some familiar faces out there.
Ding, ding. What is Walt Bigby Jr. doing out there? Of Walt Bigby Sr. fame and Stupid Parkway and Monument fame. And
well, I mean,
that would be the city marshal.
Yeah.
And who's that guy?
Well, I can't recognize from the photo, but I will tell you that I asked that question. Somebody told me that was Keith Bush. Now, I don't know if that's him or not. Insurance guy in Bossier. But neither of those cats have been to a meeting yet.
Why the sudden interest in the Charter Commission meetings?
That's what I want to know. Why all of a sudden were they at this meeting? So
why the hell was Jacobs there too? I mean, they're members of the public. They can be there if they want, but why was Jacobs there?
Well, I mean, look, he's supposed to be sitting there where Richard Ray's at, and Richard Ray, I think, is helping him out. I mean, to Jacobs' credit that he is there, he doesn't look like he's completely 100% back, but I mean, he's trying, so I don't have no issues there. But Walt Bigby and the other cat, why are they there?
Yeah,
why are they there?
Yeah, all right, here we go.
You have to have 9 members, and and then you have to, and that was the whole purpose. Now you've had 2 resigned, and you have to have 2 that are going to and those resignations, I think, to be effective, have to be accepted by the remaining members, or at least by a quorum of it. And the question that's here in front of you is, if you proceed now with the 7 remaining members, even though those emails have been sent, I don't know if you're going to have a quorum.
Where in the charter does it say you have to have 9 members? I just want to look at that.
21.02.
And they've talked about all this before.
With Mr. Friedley and Mrs.
Sumas.
I'm sorry?
Sumas
resigning. That, I think that's what brought all this controversy or this situation to a head.
That's not what brought the situation and the controversy to a head. Not their resigning. It's what led up to them resigning, Charlie.
That is exactly right. And it's just like Shane Cheatham pointed out at one of the first Charter Commission meetings, that the only reason they're there in the first place is because of term limits. Term limits. And here we are again today because of term limits.
Now, I want to back up for a second. Paul Black says the statue fat guy is in the crowd. No, his son is in the crowd. The statue, correct me if I'm wrong, is of Walt Bigby Sr. That's his son, Walt Bigby Jr. This is an interesting comment. I'm not sure why. Jacques says, Duke, that's not Richard Ray in the attorney's seat. Well, who the hell is it? I don't know. Anyway. All right. Here we go.
So you have, basically 2 choices. You can proceed, a quorum's either going to be 5 or 4 of the remaining 7 members. And if you do proceed, it could be subject to challenge. I mean, that's, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Robert's Rules of Order were the only rules of procedure, I think, that were adopted by the Charter Commission at the outset. So if that's what governs you, that's what governs you.
Well, the Roberts rules say the quorum is a majority of all the members. And
Bingo.
Richard and Amanda are members. Now, under the charter, they're special members. They can't vote, but they're still members.
Now, did y'all hear that?
So that's Princess's legal version of Robert's Rules. Now,
so she She's wanting the count of all members, the ex officio members who don't have voting rights. She's wanting to count them to get to a quorum. Now, can you
Yeah.
imagine? Can you imagine if she was a judge? Can you imagine? Think about the gymnastics she could use to affect whatever judgment she would want on anybody. She'll twist the words and the meaning to the nth degree to get the outcome that she wants.
Right. So let's look at
Just
what the
my opinion.
let's look at what the actual words say. So here's Robert's Rules of Order, ex officio board members, 49.8. They are persons who are members of the board by virtue of an office or committee chairmanship held in the society, the group, or in the parent state or national society or federation or some allied group, or sometimes in boards sometimes in boards outside of organized societies by virtue of public office. Reading the second part of the highlighted text. If the ex officio member is not under the authority of the society, he has all the privileges of board membership, including the right to make motions and to vote, but none of the obligations. They don't have to be at the meeting, but they can make motions and vote, except in this case of the Charter Commission. The city charter explicitly says they are non-voting members and ex officio. So that overrides Robert's rules. The latter class, reading the bottom highlighted part, the latter class of ex officio board member who has no obligation to participate is not counted in determining the number required for a quorum or whether a quorum is present at a meeting.
Wait a minute. Read that part again, because the princess, the lawyer, the wannabe judge to twist words, and she doesn't just stop right here. She keeps on this path. But read that last one again, Rex.
The latter class of ex officio board member who has no obligation to participate is not counted in determining the number required for a quorum or whether a quorum is present at a meeting. And look, Duke, I'm no attorney. I just play one on Facebook sometimes, and YouTube and Twitter and X and everything else.
I'm no attorney, but I can read. I mean, I'm just thinking maybe, surely she's not trying to deceive the public or, trying to
Surely
deceive
not.
anybody.
Surely
not.
Yeah, what was that show we did on deception and all that sort of thing a while back? Anyway. Yeah, surely not. So I just want y'all to be clear. This is in Robert's Rules. It's very easy to look it up. You can go look up in the one that we posted and just search in there and search for ex officio or search for 49.8. Read it for yourselves. Not hard to find. All right, here we go.
Well,
go ahead.
Let's keep rolling.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, but we addressed that before because we're specifically non-voting members, and so we don't count into a quorum. We had that come up before in another.
Richard Ray's on the money.
And if we do,
he is correct.
I mean, I don't know. Then what does that raise it to 11? Is that 6?
6 out of 11.
We've never taken the position.
Because the Robert's Rules doesn't say voting members. It just says members, all members.
Oh, Robert's Rules doesn't say.
So let's just make it up.
Is she trying to deceive the public again?
Yeah. I mean, we literally just showed you. You can go look it up for yourself. All right.
I mean, Robert's Rules doesn't say. Apparently, Robert's Rules does say.
Like I said earlier, I wouldn't hire her as an attorney to get me out of a blasted speeding ticket if I ever got one. All right.
Yeah, but the sad part about it is that she can go up there to Benton and she's probably going to be able to get whatever she wants. I mean, and it's insulting. It is absolutely insulting, and she knows dang good and well what she's doing right here. She knows what she's doing. She is trying to skew the numbers here any way she can. She's using parlor tricks, saying that Robert's Rules says one thing, when clearly we're sitting here showing you it says something else regarding this issue. I mean,
It's pretty cut and dried,
it,
and the city charter is pretty cut and dried on that.
if she's not doing it intentionally, then she's doing it out of ignorance. And if she's that ignorant, she's got no place in being a judge. None.
I can't disagree with that. All right, here we go.
And that's what we're looking at to get a quorum, since it's not in the charter.
I don't remember the meeting, but I'll just tell you that we took the position at one point earlier that we don't count, that the two ex officio members, because the charter says non-voting, that they don't count in the calculation of a quorum.
Okay.
It's always been 9 members, 9 voting members, but
If that position has been taken.
So we did not record that in the minutes. I mean, I'm trying to remember the meeting that was an issue.
Well, you're
Because
the
there's only one other
secretary?
meeting that we didn't have a
Oh, wait a minute.
quorum.
She's the chairman.
If only they had YouTube video they could go back and refer to.
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, hell, she's the chairman. She ain't the secretary. That's the secretary's job. Crap.
Yeah.
I ain't going back and finding it for her. She can go look for it herself.
And that was the one before this.
yeah, I think that was only 3. I don't think that was 4. I think there was 3 people here. So this issue didn't even come up. I mean, it wasn't even something that would be debatable.
I'm thinking that's not the
Lots
answer
of
that she
reading
wanted to
here.
hear.
So do we need to try to set another meeting, or do we need to just adjourn?
Well, y'all can have a workshop and
Well,
not do
like
any
we
official business.
Had before.
Meeting technically hasn't been
There's no
called to
meeting.
order.
That's what happened the last time. There's really no meeting. You can't adjourn a meeting that hasn't occurred. So, I mean, you can't, make a motion to adjourn. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
do that. Because
Y'all are just hanging out.
If you're just saying adjourn like leave, then unless somebody's gonna show up, I mean, has anybody heard from the other 3? Are there any emails, or can somebody reach out to
Listen,
them?
just
See if
Lee.
anybody's coming with the rain? What did Lee say?
He couldn't come.
Oh,
He had a 4 o'clock CADA board meeting.
So that was Lee Jeter.
Yeah.
So
talking
Richard, while
about,
we may not be able to meet, can we ask some questions? Like how we just going to nominate who we want for the positions, and we vote on, everybody votes? Is that basically how we do it?
I'm not aware of any rules. I think that what the
Let me
charter,
stop it right
wait a
there.
minute. What is she's talking about? You can't even have a meeting. Well, what are we going to do? Just nominate the people that we want to replace the vacancies? I mean,
Well, I think maybe in her defense, she was asking the question, hey, if we're all just sitting here, can we ask questions about how procedurally we could do this? That they could do, because they're literally just hanging out there. As long as they don't take any official action, it's not a walking quorum. And they're not texting other people to try to take action and all that sort of thing. She can ask all the questions she wants. It's a free country.
well, they set a meeting date. They took action without the chairman's approval. Anyway, keep going.
All right,
We'll get
here
to
we go.
that in a minute.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me hit the play button.
charter is silent on how vacancies are filled.
Okay.
Louisiana law, I don't have the reference right in front of me. It was in Title 13, I think 1395.1 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I can find it. Is that what it was? 13:1395.1. It's in
33.
Title.
I thought it was 33.
It may be. I'm not looking at it. I know it's in Title 13.
I'll look
but
real quick.
It has to do with charter commissions, and it says that if there are vacancies on a charter commission, then those vacancies are filled by the remaining membership of the charter commission.
It's 30,
Bingo.
section 33, or chapter 33, colon 1390.
All right, so let's talk about that for a second, because I mentioned that a couple of shows back, because that's the way the Cypress board does it. The Cypress district.
Correct.
And there was some discussion then. I got to go back and look at that in our show. I'm going to use a dangerous word. I'm going to assume Richard Ray is correct. But as we've seen, not all lawyers are always correct, but maybe so.
Well, I will tell you this, I was having discussion with someone else on this subject a while back, and I remember it, and I think there's a provision that affords whoever appointed these people the right to fill their appointment. Now, whether or
Mhm.
not which would be the city council. Now, whether or not the city council does that or not, I don't know. But there's a more interesting thing that comes up here in just a moment. And
Let me throw this out there before the thought leaves me. So, why are Bigby and the other guy there? Did the city council send them? Or did these want to have a meeting, really not having a meeting wannabes ask them to
well,
be there?
I think our viewers are wise enough to know why they were there. And I'm just going to go on and I'm going to spill it out there for you this way. Sources say that they were there to be appointed to fill the 2 vacancies by these 4 ladies. And I got to tell you, without giving anybody else in the public the opportunity, these 2 individuals were going to be appointed, by these 4 ladies. They were just going to do it. So if any of y'all else in the city, if you want in there and you know, they don't give a damn. It's about what they want, their will, their control. I mean, Walt's he's I don't know if he's his best friend, but he's big. You might as well put David Montgomery on there. I
Yeah.
mean, why put Walt? Just put David Montgomery on there, and he runs y'all, all 4 of you women. He runs y'all. So why don't y'all just put him on there and just let him write it all? Why don't y'all
Be
just do it?
done
Or
with
why
it.
don't you just call him, put him on speakerphone, and just say, "Hey, this is what David wants y'all, and let's just do it." This is what the graybeards want. This is what we're gonna do, y'all. Why don't y'all just do that? Why?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm losing my crap here a little bit because, and it's not so much that I don't know Miss Wilhite. I don't know Miss Moorhart. I know the heart of Miss Parks, and I think she's evil. I think she's evil. I do. I think she has lost her way, and she's undeserving to serve in public life. I don't believe that. But the one I'm most sad is for Vicky Whitman, because I think she's a good person, and she's sitting right up there and going to be a part of this. I mean, and she can advocate that this is all about what's best for the citizens, and she can advocate that it's all about in the best interest. Why don't you let the citizens decide? You say you're doing it for them, but yet you're doing it to take the power away from the citizens and entrust it in 4 ladies right there. You 4 ladies are the ones that are there. You came to this meeting with the intention of putting your will ahead of the will of everybody else in the city of Bossier. That's
Well,
it. That's the
now that
truth, and I'm sad for her. I really am.
so now that you mention that, I'll that's a great segue because I'm gonna back up the video to that important point that I said we were gonna go over. So this is where it gets really interesting, folks. And I don't know Vicky Whitman that well. Just met her briefly a couple of times. That's it. She seemed like a nice lady. I know her husband seems to be a great guy, city marshal and all that. But let me back up and refresh everybody's memory. This is before the meeting slash not a meeting slash workshop slash who knows what the heck it is. Before they try to adjourn it. Remember I told you to watch Vicky Whitman get up and walk over there. Now, you're going to hear a lot of noise in the video because I had to boost the audio for this. Amanda had already announced that the mics were hot and it was being broadcast. Okay, she had announced that a few minutes earlier in this. So I want you to listen to this and y'all tell me what you hear in this. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
All right, listen. Right about here, I think.
somebody doing that over contact?
All right, here we go.
I think I've got his number. Where are you?
Julie, I'm not sure. Well, do you know that we moved the dinner out to the racetrack, the Women's Commission?
No, for the luncheon.
Yeah, and so they're gonna provide all the labels. They're gonna provide the labels.
Okay, so it gets to the point that even Boost and I couldn't get it. Did y'all hear that though? There was
So
something
we're all
about
going.
a meeting or
We're all,
luncheon or something.
yeah, we're all going to the racetrack, and they're going to have food or something. They're going to be serving us all at the racetrack, right?
Yeah,
That's something
that's what
like
I
that.
heard. All right, that's what I heard. Let's go back and we're going to listen to that part one more time. Let me see if I can cue right up to it. Here we go.
We're out to the racetrack, the Women's Commission.
No, for the luncheon.
Yeah, and so they're gonna provide all the labels. They're gonna provide the labels.
And let me
They're
just
going
say,
to
she
provide
was,
all the meals.
yeah, she was definitely whispering that because I boosted the hell out of the audio to be able to get that where you could actually hear it. I just happened to catch that as I was reviewing the video, and I saw the audio slight increases right there. It's like, what the heck are they saying?
Well, that don't mean nothing, but I mean, I want to know what lunch and who's providing meals. I mean,
Yeah, I
heck,
mean, this is
I think I want to go.
yeah, it's a public meeting. Let's go. I wonder if it's a cash bar.
Well, is it a public meeting? I mean, the question is, what meeting she talking about?
Well, that is true. You bring up a good point there because, well, that wasn't actually announced at a public meeting because this isn't a public meeting. It's a public wannabe meeting. I don't know. It's like almost like Richard Ray and his attorney situation. I'm confused whether it is or isn't.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I don't know. Seems pretty sketchy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. All right, so let me jump us back up. But that was a great reason to go back to that audio. They're doing something out at the racetrack. It sounded like to me, and you can go back and listen to it, and you can listen to it in the YouTube version of this. You just got to really increase the audio.
We've had reports, Rex, to us before about a lot of meetings that go on out at the racetrack. Some in suites, some remember that. And if I
Yeah.
recall, I do remember there was a lot of meetings that transpired out there that revolved around the Cypress district.
Yeah.
I remember that as well too.
Right.
I do remember. There was information shared with us pertaining to the benefits that some people in government get, regarding the Cypress district that a lot of other people within Bossier that don't get on the taxpayer dime. You remember some of them things?
Yeah, I remember,
I'm
and I remember
wondering.
us talking about it.
Well, I
So
don't think we went in. I don't think we went into super detail.
not
I
super
don't think we
detailed.
went
We
into
just
super
mentioned.
detail.
Yeah, we just mentioned it. Now, Val Baker said Women's Commission, and David Womack says, I think they were talking about a private function on another day. I'm sure it was going to be a private function, David, and maybe it has nothing to do with the Charter Commission. Maybe it has to do with the Republican Women of Bossier, or I don't know, whatever else, but it was just odd that she get up and was literally whispering that. So maybe it is. We need to find out. Inquiring minds want to know. If you know anything about this, email us and let us know. All right.
Anyway.
Let's head back. So we were at about the 34-minute mark. We're almost to your first time stamp. So
Chapter 33, 1395.1.
Okay.
And it is in Part A.
33, 1395.1. And it, I believe, would control, because there's nothing in the charter that talks about how to fill vacancies. So I think the full body would fill a vacancy.
It doesn't give great detail. It simply says, any vacancies in the commission shall be filled by appointment of the remaining members.
So how that's accomplished, I think that was something that y'all can come up with. That was the whole purpose of I had suggested
You would
workshops. I think it had been suggested.
You would think all these people that have reviewed the charter so thoroughly would know the answer right off.
Yeah. Odd that they're having to go
You would
back
think. It's odd.
and debate this. Yes.
By Miss Whitman as well. You know, we tried to schedule those back in early July. I think the 8th, there was a storm, the 9th, nobody could do it. And then the 15th, nobody could do it. And
Now listen close.
so,
I have one other question. Based on the circumstances around, surrounding Mr. Friedley's resignation and a lot of the concern about the state law 42:2.2 with a potential ethical violation, are there any ramifications with the work this charter has done, and that we will have to go back and rescind and pass again based on that?
She sure seems to know a lot about ethics.
Yeah, I wonder what that's all about.
Where did that come from? How did she? I mean, I'm wondering how does she know about, or that there was an ethics something or another?
Could there be some ethics charges or investigations going on?
Huh. But let's listen to her point again. Y'all listen to what she says again.
so
I have one other question. Based on the circumstances around, surrounding Mr. Friedley's resignation and a lot of the concern about the state law 42:2.2 with a potential ethical violation, are there any ramifications with the work this charter has done, and that we will have to go back and rescind and pass again based on that?
If I could.
Ethical violation could that be?
It's not really a meeting, so.
She's basically, she named Preston Friedley, cited a statute, and said that he in fact has an ethical violation, or that he committed an ethical violation. She made him sound just absolutely horrible, is the way it
Yeah, I mean,
sounded.
what did he do? Did he get up there and I don't know, do some kind of harassment deal to somebody on the board? I wonder what kind of ethics he could have violated.
Well, I think that the real story is that it was a potential violation for him to be appointed to the board in the first place due to his relationship with Councilman Chris Smith. So to make it sound like it's something else nefarious.
Hold the horses. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I would have to go back through our shows or have to go back through the city council meetings. But did Chris just say, I'm putting this guy on there, and magically, poof, he showed up at these meetings and was elected chairman?
Well, I know, Rex. I think if I recall correctly, they had to be voted on by all the councilmen present, everybody there.
Wow. So if there's an ethics violation, it might be the entire city council. Imagine that. And hold on a minute. It was no secret that Preston had a familial relationship with Chris Smith by all those board members there. And they selected him to be the chairman, or all those commission members.
So one has to beg the question, knowing this, ignorance of the law is no excuse, but you're telling me that nobody vetted the picks of the councilman? So what I'm saying is was Chris Smith deprived of his appointment?
So Ryan Haygood, looks like he put up the part of the statute. Says no appointing authority shall appoint to any board, commission, council, authority, or similar entity a person who is a member of the immediate family of a person who serves on the board, commission, council, authority, or similar entity at the time of appointment. So, are they all guilty?
Well, I think, Chris Smith, whether, through ignorance or what, you would have thought someone would have stepped up and said, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't appoint him.
We have all three attorneys literally in the video frame that have been involved in this. What the hell?
Well, I think we need to go back to the council meetings. I mean, because if Chris Smith was deceived that it's a valid appointment, and then now it turns out it's not. I mean, look, I mean, I ain't going to give Chris a complete pass on this,
No,
but
but Duke, I mean, we never throw out any conspiracy theories here, and we never put our tinfoil hats on. But maybe that was the intention all along. They were hoping that Chris wouldn't look up the statutes on that, or wouldn't be aware of it, or Preston wouldn't. And certain people on the council went ahead and pushed it through to torpedo the Charter Commission if the term limits deal became an issue, which it is. Imagine that. All right, I'll get off my horse.
All right, well, let's keep going. Lots of fire here.
So I guess if that's the position that the commission is going to take, I don't, there really is no record, but I guess we can kind of treat this as sort of a workshop session. I've looked at that pretty extensively, and I think to be on the safe side, that anything that, if there is a possible violation and the ethics panel has not ruled on that, then to be on the safe side, every vote that Mr. Friedley participated in needs to be retaken. Because it could be, I've seen some opinions of, this type of issue that, where they say that if the appointment was basically improper from the beginning, then it needs to be any action in which that appointee took, basically in this case, vote,
so
would have to necessarily
stop it.
So yes. So basically, he's saying, that if in fact, and he didn't say Preston was in violation, he said that if he was, it's his recommendation that any action that was taken or any votes taken would need to be retaken, as a result of that appointment or what have you. But I would kind of go back a little bit further, and I would beg the question is the action of the council and even allowing his appointment in the first place deprived Councilman Smith of an appointee. And you're telling me nobody down there caught it? Nobody? I mean, I think Councilman Smith has a leg to stand on. I actually think he probably sought counsel from the city. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear a freight train. All right, here we go. So let's see what point are we at? We're at the 36:52 point.
Yeah, maybe speed it up. Let's get through this part pretty fast. We're gonna pick up the speed here, guys.
Yeah, you want me to just run it at time and a half speed?
Yeah, that'll work.
All right, here we go.
It could be notified. Okay. Again, that's something, that if it's not done, it could be subject.
So just thinking this through, where does it say that their resignations aren't effective until they're accepted? Because, I mean, what would happen if so many people resigned that there wasn't a quorum anymore?
Well, I'm not saying that you're not incorrect. I'm just saying it could be subject to some type of challenge. I think that's sort of the position that we've taken.
That if we decide they're not members before we accept it? Okay.
This is sort of uncharted territory. I don't know if this has ever happened before. Quite frankly, I've kind of gone back and forth, whether a quorum is 4 of the remaining 7, or if you have to have 9, then it's 5 of the 9. Again, the safe position would be 5 of the 9. But again, due to the situation, it's just, and we're kind of in an awkward position here.
Because you're not supposed to.
Yeah, we're members. You know, it says the city attorney, but Mr. Ray has, you know, been here from the outset, but my absence. But, again, you know, just like, you know, the improper appointment issue, the safe position, I guess, would be to take that it's 5 out of 9.
Okay.
You know, if you do choose to go forward with 4, you know, out of the 7, then that could be subject to challenge.
Well, I think anything is subject to challenge, but if we don't have anything in the minutes where we formally adopted for this commission that, what Richard said we did previously, which was that a quorum
I kind of like her at
was
time and a half speed.
did not include him and Amanda, and that they weren't considered members, you know, I would.
All right. Let's unpack that real quick. Val Baker says, geez, dude, get to the microphone. Well, technically it's not a meeting, so I guess he decided he didn't feel like going up to the microphone.
And he said that.
All right. Yeah, so. Shall we jump ahead to your next time marker, or do you want to go ahead and continue?
Yeah, let's jump ahead. Let's jump ahead.
Okay.
And let's cut through these things, the main points. And
yeah,
there was so much in here to trace and to follow that, you know, we quit putting marks in here of significance, and we're just going to try to play through it. But some boring parts. Anyway, go ahead with this next part.
Consequence. I'm ready to proceed, get this done, and get it over with, but
I am too.
y'all can.
What do y'all think?
If you're.
I'm ready to get done one way or the other.
All right, let's go.
Let's.
Hang on. Look at 49:8 on page 460.
So what they're ready to get done, guys, they're just ready to go ahead and call the meeting to order, start voting, appoint Walt and appoint Keith Bush in there, and rubber stamp whatever it is they want in there. Now that they have control, they were able to, they weren't happy. They said, we're going to take our football and go home. We're not going to do anything else, you know, so long as Preston was around, and, you know, we're going to, but now, hey, we're all in a hurry for some reason. We're in a big
I wonder
hurry
why
now,
that could be.
we got to get this done. Anyway,
Yeah, they're in a
let's keep
hurry
going.
when they want to get the term limits out of there. All right. Yeah, I'll hit play.
Well, yeah. So Richard Ray starts, you know, bringing up another rule. Be damn the rules here.
Just a second.
I got it.
Yeah, we were up at the, let's see. Hold on, I got to put it on live review. It just crashed.
Oh, okay.
All right, now we can probably do it.
This could happen forever, I guess.
Go back. I'm gonna go back to this part.
Say that they couldn't make it today?
No.
They just didn't show up?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you hear that? Juliana's asking the question, did the other members email and say they couldn't make it today? To which I'm pretty confident it was Miss Will Height saying, no, that's not accurate. That's not accurate.
And sources say?
Well, no. Here in just a little while, you'll actually hear it was Amanda or somebody saying, you know, well, yeah, Lee Jeter emailed earlier. In fact, I think even Miss Wilhite says something about Jeter emailing. So
yeah,
she jumped right out there saying, no, you know, as if to condemn them. But there was communication. Apparently, there were emails.
Well, yeah, because they just mentioned that Jeter was at a CADA meeting or whatever. That was mentioned earlier. We talked about that several minutes ago.
Yeah, but whether or not they communicated about coming to this meeting or not was what was in question here. And I mean, again, the chairman didn't call this meeting. Morehart called this meeting.
Yeah.
All right, playing.
Okay.
So this could happen forever, I guess.
Oh, I forgot I called this a meeting. It's not a meeting.
Yeah, get your terminology straight.
I'm just saying, I hadn't had a chance to read it. Ms. Nottingham was pointing out, this has to do with ex officio members and whether they count,
Yeah, that's going back through that dead horse. Let's jump to up to the next mark. Okay.
And, wait until somebody they don't want there doesn't show up. I mean, it just seems like there's a lot of grounds for, I don't know. But even without the,
You hear what she was talking about?
Sure.
She's talking about we're just going to sit around until, they decide to show up or they have enough people or whatever. Well,
Isn't that the
isn't that
pot calling the kettle black?
exactly what y'all did? You didn't come to the last meeting so long as Preston was there. Yeah. And Richard Ray talked about it earlier. It was the same thing. You didn't have a quorum before because y'all didn't come.
Yeah, something about that goose gander, pot calling kettle black. I don't know,
Yeah, they collectively refused to come to another meeting so long as Preston was there. I mean, there's several people have told us that.
Yeah.
I mean, are they saying that's not true? I'm
If
wondering.
it's
Ask
not,
them for a
prove it.
friend.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
ex officio board members counting as members, I think we still have a good argument. If I were the judge, which I'm not, but I would think that all of the members means the members that have not resigned.
If she was the judge, ex officio members would count. And we showed y'all clearly what Robert's rules say. So I'm just wondering, any of y'all, that if you had to go before her as a judge, if she was judge, her interpretation of the law,
Very loose interpretation.
if she didn't like you, how do you think she's going to interpretate it? I just got to tell you, I think she'd be
belong in the
arguing.
26 JDC. That I hate to say that, but she really would. She would fit in like a glove there.
Anyway, here we go.
All right.
Is there someone we could ask legally another interpretation?
Well, we've got 3 lawyers here.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, that's
why you have to have a judge, because we can all argue all day long and somebody has to be like, well, let's roll the dice and pick number 1, 2, or 3. I don't know. I think it's a gray area, and I think that we have just as much grounds as being right as we don't. But I guess we could give it another day and see if more people will show up.
What is the date to get this to voters again?
Yeah, I thought it was this month.
It's at the end of this month.
That's to get
for
it
the
on the
December.
December ballot. But the commission actually has 18 months to do their work.
So aside from December ballot, we have time to.
There's a March ballot and I believe either April or May.
Yeah, all from the start, I wanted to do this to where nobody can come back and say, that's illegal, and you knew it going in and you did it anyway. I mean,
But it's not clearly illegal, it's gray
Right.
area.
Right.
Stop the press. Did you just hear what she said? That's not clearly illegal. What does Richard Ray always say? Words matter. Hold on. Stop the press. Back that up. That is just awesome. Let's hear that again.
Yeah, but why all of a sudden do they feel confined to have to make the December ballot? Why is that? I mean, if this is about what's best and producing the best product and being thorough, what's the deal with the December ballot? Oh, I know, because, well, you know what? I'm going to let them tell you. I'm not going to tell you. I know the answer. I'm going to let them tell you.
All right, here I'm going to go back and play hers, and we'll let it keep playing. But y'all listen carefully again.
Knew it going in and you did it anyway. I mean,
But it's not clearly illegal, it's gray
Right.
area.
Right.
It's not clearly illegal.
Well, not unethically, I should say. Yeah.
And so you're going to have, at some point in time, if you only have 4 people show up, you're going to have to make a decision whether you wish to go forward or not, knowing it may be subject to some type of legal challenge, or it may not be. again, probably the safest course of action would be to not proceed without 5 people here. But, I think y'all all expressed the
Julia's rules of order.
I forgot exactly which member said it, but what if you just have the remaining member refuse to show up? Then it just
Hang in there, guys.
just die.
She's fixing
Right.
to.
I think there's clearly been some gamesmanship with waiting till certain people are here and certain people aren't. And so I foresee this continuing to be a problem.
I do too.
You know,
And you can
so,
tell by the text messages that are shared in the emails.
right.
such wisdom they have. They're so wise.
Like they almost know the damn playbook because they wrote it and did it.
Yeah, but they
This is getting
still.
better by the minute.
Morehart lays it out here in just a minute. She doesn't even hold back. The mask is off here in just a moment.
Oh, here we go.
Keep playing.
And so I feel like we have, I believe that once they resign, that all the members are now 7 and we have a quorum. That's my opinion. And if we want to take an informal vote and then as a board go forward with that, I'd be okay with that. But if y'all feel more comfortable waiting till we have another person here,
Wait a minute.
then
Did she just
that's
say
why
if we want to take an
I'd honor her.
informal vote?
Yeah.
So if we want to have a walking quorum, she's down with having that.
Well, if you're going to rewrite one law, just rewrite them all. What the hell does it matter?
I mean, look, I'm just an attorney, a future judge in Bossier, and I don't care if we want to take an informal vote. Straw poll, walking, call it what you want, an informal vote. I mean, by all means, let's just break the law. It don't matter.
So we got to get this to the AG's office.
I am the
Ethics
law.
board, everybody else. I mean, this is insanity. All right, here we go.
Informal vote and not push it.
I'm for moving forward.
Well,
I would prefer to wait, but if the consensus is we're all here, you want to move forward, I'll vote to move forward.
Well,
what are y'all gonna do?
I just want to be done with all of it.
All right.
Yes.
I didn't have the benefit of seeing Mr. Jeter. Did somebody
Sounds
say
to me
he
like
emailed? I didn't see.
sounds to me like they believe that they have a quorum and they're making decisions of what to do.
Sounds like it to me. Judge Juliana the Princess says so. It must be.
I don't know. Either she's right or she's not right. So if she is right, then they're openly violating the law. If she's not right, then I mean they're setting a meeting and making decisions without the body.
Right.
Any way you cut it, this stinks to high heaven, and I hope the public. I mean, there's not many of you left watching. We know it's long and it's boring and it's wonky, but you need to see this.
Hey, we're going to have to change our catchphrase from Good Old Boys Network to the Good Old Gals Network.
Yeah. Well, let's jump up to the 56:27 mark and wrap this up.
If they play these games and get it, and I'm willing to say this on the record because I want everybody to know my thought process in it. That's the way I always am. That backfires on me a lot because I'm not different behind closed doors than I am in public, but that's me. What you see is what you get. So my thought on this is if this is pushed off and we can't do it before the end of July, it's not going to get on the December ballot and the voters aren't going to get to vote on our changes to the charter. Meanwhile, other changes may be on there.
The elections and the other.
Gee, I wonder what she meant by that phrase. Did y'all catch that, folks?
Oh, so if they don't get it on the ballot by December, then the voters wouldn't get an opportunity to vote on their changes? She just lied to the public because that's not true. The next ballot in, I think, March or April, there's 2 more ballots coming up that they would very easily be able to get it on the ballot for. So to say that unless you put it on the December ballot, That's false. That is
Yeah.
not true at all. That is a bald-faced lie.
And I think she was hinting to what they intend to do with term limits, which is obviously strip it out of the charter recommendations. But I would contend that maybe once they are able to insert Tower of Tax Dollars' son himself, Walt Bigby Jr., and the other guy on there, then they would be able to do exactly what they want, and they may have something a little more nefarious up their sleeves with term limits.
Well, I can tell you exactly what they're going to do, but let's get through their comments,
Okay.
and then we'll circle back and we'll explain what their intent is or why they're wanting to force it to get on that December ballot. They're hell bent on having it now. And look, y'all got to go back, and we can show you the clips. I got them queued up and ready if y'all want to see them. But they had a totally different tune at the beginning of this charter commission. It was all, let's take our time, let's do this thing right, let's do a complete product. And now their tunes on here is, no, by gosh, we got to have it done for the December ballot. We got to hurry up. We got to hurry. I mean, we got to move heaven and earth to get this done.
Right. All right. So
keep going.
All right, here we go.
Others in 2025 are March 29th and May 3rd and October 11th.
Okay, so what happens with the stuff that's on the ballot for the petition? Instead of voters getting the option of what we have studied and talked about and worked really hard to get before the voters in a comprehensive manner, you know, that's not going to be there compared to a petition. It's going to be put in another.
She said it right there.
Now
guys.
the truth comes out.
She said it. Miss Transparency said it, that the whole reason they need to have it on there is to go be on the same ballot with the petition.
Yeah.
That's it. And here's what they're going to do, guys. Y'all just hear me out. Here's what they're going to do. They're going to put term limits on their changes to the charter, but they're going to cut out retro to enable all those guys to, if they want to be in there another 50 years, they can enable them to be in there another 50 years. Endless terms for David Montgomery. That's what they want. That's what they're trying to do. No limits. Be in there forever.
Bingo. Bingo.
Well, that's not entirely true. I mean,
You're being a little facetious, but the point is
to give them 3 more terms.
Yeah,
that's what they're wanting to do.
To give them 12 more years or whatever. I mean, that's a long time. That's to put that in perspective. It's over a decade.
Yeah, and then they'll campaign to the public and say, we have term limits in these charter changes. Vote for this. And then they'll try to get everybody to vote against the standalone, the people's petition. That's what they're going to try to do, is to kill the people's petition and get you and deceive you to think, well, they both have the term limits in here, so vote for the changes in the charter. We need this.
And
that's what they're going to do.
The debt per capita of Bossier City just keeps climbing and climbing. All right. Yep. Okay, so you want me to keep playing this, or was there another point?
Keep going.
Okay, here we go.
Keep going.
We've not received a
Election
petition.
far beyond that.
We've not received a petition.
There's a term limit petition being reviewed right now, so you may not have officially received it, but it is being reviewed, and they think that it'll be on the ballot for December. So that's what's pushing the change in rush to a December ballot to stall.
Right.
It still has to be presented to
Wait, what did she just say?
She's saying that's what's pushing the rush to get it on the December ballot. That's what she's saying. It. They're saying
more importantly was the last. Yeah, more importantly is what she said after that, to stall. Here we go.
council, and then action would be required by the council.
And I also would like to point out that the city attorney and Miss Nottingham, who are all people that I love very much, that I respect very much, also worked for Tommy Chandler, who was very pro term limits. So take that advice with a grain of salt, with that being understood. So
Oh, she just threw a little shade.
If I could make a suggestion, again, we're not the lawyers for the Government Commission,
Right.
but
Well,
I would
let's
suggest.
jump to the next mark.
All right, let's see. That's the 1 minute mark. Yeah. Okay. Wow, this is going to make some great little sound bites and shorts and reels and all sorts of things. I have lots of cool, funny stuff planned for this. Here we go.
I'm okay with the 29th, and I'm okay if we don't get this on the December ballot. We get it on the ballot because we put a lot of work in. And it is what it is. What happens with the term limits? I mean, is that the only thing in the petition?
That
Is it-
is.
Yeah. Is it worth
I'm so
all the
glad
other
they're
work
mentioning
that
the
we've
petition.
done? To me, no. I mean, term limits is term limits. So you're going to get a portion of the public that are going to agree with it, and they don't. We're going to let the voters decide anyway.
Wow.
I mean,
Look,
Right.
but
But
if
Wow.
it goes to the ballot, the voters are deciding. So either they're going to go for
Wow.
it or they're not. It doesn't matter what we put in here. Just like this, they're either going
I got to stop right there.
Hat tip to Miss Wilhite.
Wait a
I
minute. I got to
tell
pick
you.
my jaw up off the floor. Hold on. I've lost my jaw.
That is the first deferment of them to the reason of the citizens of Bossier. Let them make the decision.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow. That's all I can say. I cannot believe I just heard those words out of the. Well, I was going to say something mean. Out of their mouths.
yeah. I mean, but now they're on this fast forward collision course to hell bent on getting this charter commission wrapped up by one meeting next week so they can force it on the same ballot as the petition. I got a fly and jumped in here. I'm going to be like Mike Pence before this is said and done. Anyway, to force
Cass,
it on the ballot,
well, I just
with
want to
the
make.
term limits petition, so they can deceive the public. And Miss Whitman, she knows dang good and well that's what they're trying to do, and I'm ashamed of her going along with it because she ought to respect the will of the people, but yet she's wanting to place four people to make the decision about what's best for the people of Bossier, and dismiss not once but twice over 3,000 citizens of the city signing a petition of a specific thing that they wanted, and they're just willing to just totally dismiss it. Totally.
But I do find it funny, and so we got a couple of comments here. Rusty Maddox says the petition is none of the Charter Commission's business. Cassie Rogers, who obviously was a great help with the petition, says the petition should not be factored into any decision they make. But notice just the little bit, and we skipped over a little bit, how many times have they mentioned the petition? It is like the central point of their focus right now. And that tells you one thing and one thing only about what this whole circus has been about tonight. It's been about one thing: term limits.
To stop the term limits. And Miss Whitman, I'm sorry, I'm ashamed that you're a party to that. I'm ashamed that you're a part of that.
Yeah. All right, let's.
And look, I want you to go to the notes, Rex, and I want you to pull up because y'all want to know why that bothers me so much. Let's go back to some of the first meetings of the Charter Commission.
All right, so I'm on the January 16th meeting, and I think I'm queued up. Maybe not to the right point. Let me see.
Go to the very last one, Rex, if you've got that one pulled up.
The February 5th one.
I'm just looking
I think that's the last one. What's the time, Q?
1:23:53.
3:53. Got it. Juliana speaks personal versus principal. Is that it?
No.
Is that no?
Well, yeah, maybe so. Go ahead. 1:23.
Yeah. That's it. When it crashed a minute ago, it kind of reset times deals. All right, here we go.
You're making it personal, and I'm talking about principles. We have a saying, and there is a clear goal here, and my point is this: when you make a law based on one scenario, it's always gonna be a bad law, because that's not how you make laws. You make laws based on what is the effect of this law gonna be? And we have to look at that. We can't make it personal about certain city council members or about certain people sitting here today. And again, I didn't say if I'm for or against it. What I said was I want the people to be able to make an informed decision based on the data available. And I think that's the right way to handle it.
Right.
Wow.
And I would just one clear goal, and it ain't about one thing.
Wow.
I mean, now
I don't even know what to say to that, because I had
go to the
forgotten that she
120.
said that.
Oh yeah, go to the 127 mark.
There
Shane, you're talking about, while we're here, I was under a different assumption. When Vince asked me to do this, the first thing I said was, I don't know if I can do that or not. I'll have to see, because I didn't want to conflict, didn't want to be a conflict. So Vince really couldn't explain to me exactly, because, was just formulating. He said, call Chris Smith. And he said, ask him, he can tell you. So I called Chris and I said, Chris, can you explain to me, what this is that Vince is asking me to participate in, and what exactly we are doing? What are we going to do? And would there be any conflict? And what I was told was it wasn't about getting term limits on a ballot before November. I was told that I was going to, we had 18 months, and that we would have to have it up by then, and that we were to study the charter. And then we were to look at it and then see if there's any changes that we thought were going to be made. I've spent days, I've got all these people I've seen, and I've got notes all through this charter, because I'm doing what Chris Smith told me I was going to do, and that's review this charter. Not, hey, I just need you to get term limits on the ballot. That's not what he told me. If he had told me that, I'd have said, you got the wrong person. Because, my personal opinion on term limits, you already know. But I'm not trying to stop anybody, any of you, from having a voice.
Really?
But I was charged with studying the charter.
Really?
And that's what I was told I was going to do.
Stop right there. Right there. Miss Whitman, are you not trying to stop anyone from having a voice now? I can name about 3,000 people.
Yeah.
I can name about
Easily.
3,000 people.
To quote Richard
you
Ray,
just said,
easily.
Yeah, you're not trying to stop anybody, but yet you're willing to break the rules. You're walking the fine edge on, as Juliana said, what did she say, criminal or ethical or whatever. You're going to go up all of that line so you can try to stop term limits with retro. So you're going to fast forward this. You just said by yourself you had 18 months, and there was no hurry. In fact, I think in this debate here, in this argument, y'all are arguing about not moving fast, about taking your time and being slow. But now all of a sudden, why is it that you're
Gotta
hell
hurry up.
bent?
You're ready to get
Got to
it
make that
done.
December ballot.
Yeah.
What changed, Ms. Whitman? What changed? So if you can live with yourself on it, then I mean, I guess you if you want to stop the 3,000 people twice, whatever that total number of different people was, I mean, obviously you don't want those 3,000 people to have a voice, apparently.
Well, apparently not. Now, Mr. Ferris just said, for clarity, let's name each individual who appointed these individuals for Charter Commission. That will shine light on this conversation and what is driving them. So I don't have the list ready to put up, but I will read it really quickly. Preston Friedley was appointed by Chris Smith. Shane Cheatham was appointed by Tommy Chandler. Sandra Morehart was appointed by Don Williams, Bubba Don. Vicky Whitman was appointed by none other than Vince Maggio. Lisa Wilhite was appointed by Jeff Free. Lee Jeter was appointed by Tommy Chandler. David Johnson was appointed by Brian Hammonds. The princess herself was appointed by, drumroll please, David Montgomery. And Pandorina Sumas was appointed by Jeff Darby. So,
Now,
there
if
you go.
if you go back to that last video we had, Miss Morehart, I think there's a comment in there where she's decrying that, look, this is all not political. It's not political at all. Well, golly gee willikers, this thing's coming right down on the political lines of who supported term limits and who was opposed to term limits.
Yeah.
And if they're going to go back and rescind the actions that were taken before, guess what, folks? They're going to probably try to go back and take away the right of the citizens to petition. So, Vicky Whitman, you going to take away everybody's right to petition? Is that what you're going to do too? Are you going to? Why don't you just go ahead and make David Montgomery mayor for life of Bossier City? And while you're at it, make your husband. I love him, like your husband a lot. But why don't you just go ahead and make him marshal for life, and make all the existing councilmen for life, with the exception of Chris Smith and Brian Hammonds. Why don't you just go ahead and do that? Because everything you advocate for is not true. It's not true. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not. I hate that I'm having to say this about a friend of mine, but we didn't start doing this to bite our tongue about whoever, and I'm ashamed on this one. I am.
Yeah. All right. So that is pretty much it for tonight. Anything else we need to cover? I was going to mention the deal about, and I won't even pull up the script. Well, yeah, I am. Hold on. So, as a side note, I noticed that the clerk of court's office had posted this on their Facebook page, the official page. And it says the clerk of court is responsible for election day duties as well as the qualifying process as chief election officer of the parish. I will always remain impartial to any candidate in a constant effort for a transparent and unbiased election. I think Jill and, of course, Stephanie's office at the ROV does a good job of that. My office is procedurally tasked to accept the applications with the provided information, and subsequently, we are mandated to qualify that candidate. Traditionally, in the past, I have taken a picture with the candidate for a social media post if they so choose. These posted photos are never in support of one candidate over another, and it's true, she's been very fair about that. My office and I do not endorse, object to, nor investigate any candidate at any time. With that being said, while I do support freedom of speech, she would ask that you respect the office's public Facebook page when commenting. In addition, she would like to encourage using a more appropriate method with the share feature on a specific candidate's post to state the opinions on your own personal page. Jill Sessions. So I got to wondering, what the hell was that about? Well, as it turns out, and I don't know, I think you were up in Milwaukee when all that was going on. As it turns out, there is a candidate announcement for Blake Laliberty, I hope I said that right, for alderman in the town of Houghton. And this was posted a few days ago. But anyway, it has had 60 shares and 95 likes or whatever expressions. 60 shares. So I'm assuming this is probably the one that her post was in reference to, because I haven't seen, I don't think the clerk of court's office has had anything that had 60 shares. So I don't know what all's going on in the town of Houghton, or what's going on with this particular fellow. I mean, I did read some of the commentary. Some of it had been taken down, but something's going on. According to Meta's new AI, they're criticizing his candidacy for alderman, inappropriate behavior online, blah, 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 something to do with the daycare. So, for those of you that know what's going on in Houghton, it was definitely enough to cause Jill to make a post like that. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, those local politics are getting fired up. I mean, I noticed there was a lot of candidates qualified for alderman in Halton, and I think even Benton and Plain Dealing, and people qualifying for mayor. You know, we probably need to do a debate or two in, you know, some of these little small towns, and
Yeah.
you know, debates bring, you know, to the top, you know, insights for the public on these people, and it's also a method of holding them accountable. So we ought to try to put some of that together again.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Hey, I want to bring up one point. So Val Baker, and I think he's asked this more than once, what's being built next to Red Rover? I should know that because I'm right up the street, but honestly, I haven't paid attention, and that's been asked a couple of shows back. Well, lo and behold, my neighbor Cody McKellar, owner of Red Rover, is down there. He says a shopping center, 4 to 6 retail spaces. So thank you for watching and answering that question, Cody. All right. Barry Butler says, I think she always posts that. Maybe she does. I'll go back and look. I don't remember seeing that. And that was kind of specific to that one post, but maybe she does, Barry. I'll go back and check. All right. Anything else you need to share, Mr. Loud?
Oh no, I am done. I'm done.
You're done. All right, we're out of here, folks. I'll make it real quick. You all know the drill. If you got some information you want to share with us, make a Proton Mail account. Don't put any identifying information. Send an email to bossierwatch@protonmail.com or bossierwatch@gmail.com. It really doesn't matter. We appreciate all the viewers, all the help. Duke, we appreciate you for sharing with us some of your experience up in Milwaukee. I know you worked hard and feel terrible about right now with your throat situation and cold going on, whatever. So I'm not going to keep you any longer. Folks, we appreciate it. We're out of here.